1 year ago, my husband Mark and half-sister Kathy locked me in the guest room of my own house, calling it protection. I miscarried at 7 months. A week later, Kathy flaunted a fake pregnancy. They were building their perfect life with my stolen grief. Now, Mark is evicted, his reputation ruined. Kathy sobs into an empty crib. My pain became their prison. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Back when I first felt my baby kick at the beach, Mark sang lullabies into my belly. He used to trace names into the sand. Hope, Grace, Evelyn. I believed we were unbreakable. Kathy brought homemade snacks, rubbed my back, said I glowed. I thought I had a family. I painted the nursery spring grass green, thinking it meant new beginnings. That color meant peace. Ow, it sticks to the walls like mold. Mark once read parenting books to me in bed, highlighting tips with a yellow marker. He said he wanted to be the dad he never had. Kathy gifted me a charm bracelet with a tiny green pacifier. We laughed about baby names over vanilla milkshakes. My therapist, Dr. Brennan, said bonding rituals were key. I wore that bracelet like armor. Now I keep it in a locked drawer, proof of the performance they perfected. Mark took my car keys one morning, saying I was too emotional to drive. Kathy watched silently. I didn't argue. Janet, my coworker, noticed I stopped laughing at work. She offered lunch twice. I declined. My cousin Emma said I looked thinner, tired. I wrote down everything in a red journal hidden in the air vent. The spring grass green nursery stayed locked. I stopped visiting it. I started losing myself. Kathy whispered that the nursery should be her space too for bonding. I laughed. Unsure Mark didn't. He said it's practical. Dr. Brennan raised an eyebrow when I mentioned it. Emma offered her couch. I declined. I clung to normalcy like breath. The bracelet started leaving green marks on my wrist. My belly swelled. My fears did too. I started locking my phone. But Mark always found the code. One night, I caught Kathy watching me sleep from the hallway. She smiled like it was normal. Mark said I imagined it. Dr. Brennan called it hypervigilance. Janet mentioned rumors. Mark telling people I had episodes. Emma begged me to leave. I laughed it off. But the nursery door started creaking open by itself. My journal entries got shorter. I stopped singing. I couldn't feel the baby kick anymore. Kathy bought matching maternity dresses, one for her, one for me. Mark laughed, said it's cute. I said nothing. At work, Janet left a hotline number on my desk. I shredded it. Emma texted daily check-ins. I replied with emojis. Dr. Brennan suggested boundaries. I switched therapists. The spring grass green paint started chipping. I started sleeping with my door blocked by a chair. Mark switched our bedroom locks. Janet offered to drive me to a clinic. I said I had no appointment. She said I looked scared. Emma called twice in 1 hour. I didn't pick up. Kathy started wearing her dress early, showing her bump. Mark said she was just excited. I started hiding food in tissue boxes. My journal grew frantic. I googled false pregnancy signs at 3 a.m. I wondered who was really expecting. When Mark brought a psychiatrist and power of attorney papers, I pretended to comply. He called it help. Kathy brewed chamomile tea. I sipped slowly, hiding nausea. Janet arrived with Emma and Dr. Brennan. They demanded answers. I pulled the red journal from my purse. Pages tagged with dates and names. Mark scoffed. Kathy dropped her mug. It's fiction, he sneered. Dr. Brennan opened the page with photos. Emma hit record. Mark froze. Mark's voice cracked as Janet read his text aloud. Sheila, fold if we isolate her. Kathy ran upstairs. Dr. Brennan listed medication interactions. Emma handed over printouts. Google history. Kathy's fake ob emails. Mark reached for the papers. I slapped his hand. You unalived our daughter for control. Silence throbbed. The charm bracelet slipped from my wrist. Mark's mother entered uninvited and whispered. I saw the Miss Arpsidle. Mark turned pale. His grip on lies loosened. Kathy descended the stairs, holding the green pacifier charm. He said we'd be a family, she cried. Mark shouted, you ruined everything. Emma pushed Kathy aside and said, you're not pregnant. Janet handed Kathy a mirror. Her padded belly looked ridiculous now. Dr. Brennan said, psychological projection isn't motherhood. Mark lunged for the journal. I raised my voice. Touch it and you'll never see light again. He stopped. For the first time he stopped. The police arrived within minutes. Emma had called them before entering. Mark claimed misunderstanding. Kathy sobbed on the stairs. Bracelet still clutched. Dr. Brennan presented a statement. Janet handed over the recordings. I watched as they cuffed Mark. Read him rights. Kathy begged me to intervene. I said nothing. The spring grass green paint on my hands flaked with every tremble. Emma gripped my shoulder. It's over, she said. My silence meant freedom. Just when I thought it was over, Kathy's lawyer delivered papers. She was suing for emotional distress, claiming I orchestrated the miscarriage. Emma's jaw dropped. Janet snapped. She's doubling down. Dr. Brennan laughed bitterly. Delusion doesn't file legal briefs. The charm bracelet was submitted as evidence. Kathy wore it proudly in court. I wore my daughter's birthstone pinned under my blouse. Mark refused to testify. I realized they weren't done. But neither was I. In court, Kathy claimed she was the biological mother. We shared everything, she said, voice trembling. The judge asked for medical proof. Janet had secured hospital logs. Kathy was never admitted. Emma revealed text messages, fake contractions today. Well, Dr. Brennan testified to Kathy's instability. My hands trembled. Then Kathy screamed, she doesn't deserve to be a mother. The gallery gasped. The judge's gavel slammed. My silence had more weight than her screams. The media caught wind. A sister surrogate scandal trended. A talk show host questioned, was it all orchestrated? My inbox flooded. Emma deleted death threats. Janet managed interviews. Dr. Brennan refused comment. Kathy reveled in the attention, booking podcasts. Mark stayed silent in jail. I watched her lie on air, saying I never wanted the baby. I released one photo, my baby bump, my hand, my smile. No caption. A truth doesn't shout, it breathes. Kathy's book deal fell through. A reporter uncovered forged medical records. Emma tipped him off. Janet tracked digital timestamps. The charm bracelet was proven to be store-bought last month, not a pregnancy keepsake. Dr. Brennan shook her head on national TV. Kathy tried blaming Mark, but he issued a written statement. She knew everything. The publisher retracted. Kathy spiraled on livestream crying, blaming me, begging followers. But the comment section chose silence. Mark's trial revealed a recorded call. If she won't give me a son, someone else will. His mother sobbed in court. Janet covered her face. Emma squeezed my hand. Dr. Brennan whispered, it's his final mask. The judge denied bail. Kathy didn't show. My stomach twisted as the jury read the verdict guilty on all counts. For the first time, I breathed without fear. My bracelet sat in the evidence tray, still green. I started a podcast anonymous at first, from guest room to guardian. Emma handled tech, Janet wrote scripts, Dr. Brennan helped shape trauma segments, listeners grew, a survivor's messaged me, you gave me language. Kathy tried to sue again, dismissed. Mark's appeal was denied. My name became strength, not scandal. I wore a necklace, now my baby's initials in gold. The Springgrass green room became a recording studio. My silence had evolved into echo. Just when peace settled, Emma found old baby clothes at a thrift store marked Whitmore. My breath caught. The clerk remembered a blonde woman with a fake bump. Janet traced the tag to a boutique Kathy used. Dr. Brennan said it could support harassment charges. We submitted everything. Kathy posted a cryptic photo, an empty crib with my green paint in the background. I didn't respond, but I changed my locks again. Kathy was arrested for stalking after showing up outside my studio with a baby doll. Emma called the police. Janet blocked the door. Dr. Brennan coached me through the panic attack. Kathy screamed as she was taken away. You were supposed to love me. The green pacifier fell from her pocket. I didn't pick it up. Itter? I pressed my hand to the studio door and whispered. This space is mine now. The court issued a permanent restraining order. Kathy's lawyer withdrew. Janet framed the order in silver. Hung it in the studio. Emma cried when I read the document aloud on air. Dr. Brennan reminded me healing isn't linear. Listeners flooded the comments, you survived for all of us. I added a wind chime to the door, green glass, soft sound. When it rang, I smiled. It no longer echoed fear, it sang freedom. I was invited to speak at a trauma survivor summit. Emma bought me a green dress, spring grass tone. Janet booked our flights. Dr. Brennan practiced questions with me. On stage, I said, I was locked in my own house and called crazy. Now I open doors for others. The crowd rose, tears blurred the lights. My story wasn't just mine anymore. The bracelet stayed in my purse, a reminder, not a chain. Mark's final appeal hearing loomed. I debated attending. Emma insisted I shouldn't. Janet offered to go in my place. Dr. Brennan said closure isn't always visual. I sent a letter instead. You don't own my ending. The court denied his appeal. Mark shouted in the courtroom. The judge dismissed him. Kathy sent one last letter begging. I returned it and opened. I burned the envelope. The green wax seal melted like old lies. On what would have been my daughter's first birthday, I visited the ocean. Emma brought sunflowers. Janet held my hand. Dr. Brennan stood back. Quiet support. I scattered green confetti into the waves, non-toxic, biodegradable. I wore the charm bracelet. Just for that moment, I whispered her name. No more silence. No more stolen stories. Just love. The wind lifted my words. Somewhere, I believed she was listening. And maybe finally I was too. A publisher reached out offering a memoir deal. Emma jumped. Janet, read the contract thrice. Dr. Brennan warned, only if you're ready. I said yes. Writing became my ritual. I wrote in the green painted room, wearing noise-canceling headphones. I relived it all. The title came easily. Guest room. First draft done. I cried, not from pain but power. Every page stitched me together. My daughter's name opened chapter 1. My name signed the last. Kathy was released early for good behavior. Emma spotted her downtown. Janet texted me instantly. Dr. Brennan called it a test. I took a deep breath. I didn't run. I didn't hide. I ordered coffee. Kathy looked smaller. Her eyes didn't meet mine. The pacifier charm wasn't on her wrist. I didn't feel fear, just distance. I left my table without a word. Some ghosts don't deserve exorcism, just doors that stay shut. When the book launched, I wore the green dress again. Emma cried. Janet brought champagne. Dr. Brennan clapped from the front row. Reviewers called it raw, powerful, impossible to forget. I signed copies until my wrist ached. Survivors lined up sharing tears, stories, gratitude. A woman whispered, you saved me. I hugged her tight. The charm bracelet now hung in a frame beside the first printed page. Hayne one silenced me. Ow, it speaks volumes. The podcast hit 1 million downloads. Emma baked a green cake. Janet brought balloons. Dr. Brennan gifted me a microphone etched with my daughter's name. Her voice lives in yours now, she said. I smiled through tears. My inbox overflowed with stories from survivors across the globe. We built a support group. We called it Unlocked. I led the first meeting wearing my daughter's birthstone. Our pain no longer isolated. It united. I visited the house one last time, now up for sale. Emma waited in the car. Janet walked beside me. The nursery door creaked open. The paint had faded. I took one chip of springgrass green and pocketed it. You sure? Janet asked. I nodded. Dr. Brennan said closure is choice. I turned the lights off, locked the door, walked away. The past didn't echo. I exhaled. I was ready for next chapters. I stood in the mirror wearing the green dress. Not for court, not for survival, for joy. Emma zipped the back, smiling. Janet said, you look whole. Dr. Brennan called during makeup. You're rewriting legacy? I touched the charm bracelet. No longer armor, just memory. My reflection held strength. The woman who survived was gone. The woman who built from rubble stood tall. I whispered, we did it, baby girl. At Unlocked meetings, I watched survivors share names, not wounds. Emma organized snacks. Janet moderated. Dr. Brennan sat quietly, nodding. I listened. I felt purpose, not pay. A young woman handed me a drawing, me with a green crown. You're the queen who escaped, she said. I cried in the bathroom, not from pain, but from resonance. I wasn't just surviving, I was anchoring others to their shorelines. That's what healing sounded like. On the podcast's anniversary, we played voicemail messages from survivors. Emma edited, Janet curated. Dr. Brennan listened, misty-eyed. I ended with, you're not broken, you were betrayed. But betrayal doesn't get the final word. I placed a green candle on my desk, lit it quietly. The flame didn't flicker, it danced. My daughter's memory didn't haunt, it fueled. She wasn't taken. She was given to ignite stories only I could tell. Ark's sentence finalized, 20 years without parole. Kathy's parole revoked after another violation. Emma brought the paperwork in a green folder. Janet cheered. Dr. Brennan nodded. Justice delayed, not denied. I didn't dance, I sat in silence. Not numb, just full. The law moved slowly, but it moved. The world turned. This chapter was theirs to close. Mine had already begun, turning pages they'll never see. The Unlock Center open funded by donations and the memoir's royalties. Emma cut the ribbon. Janet organized volunteers. Dr. Brennan held a group session under Green Lanterns. Survivors laughed, shared, built. I planted a tree in the courtyard, named it Hope. Kids played under it. I watched from the steps, hand on my bracelet. The center wasn't a monument to pain. It was proof that light grows after storm. Now, I speak in schools, libraries, and shelters. Emma drives. Janet builds slide decks. Dr. Brennan preps me with grounding cues. I wear green on stage, not to remember but to root. Guest room is in its third print. Students ask, what color's next? I smile, whatever we want. My voice doesn't shake, my story's mine. And every time I tell it, I reclaim another piece they tried to erase. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.